Hello, everybody. You're welcome to the AGI Virtual Law Practice Course series. This course is actually designed to promote virtual law practice for the bar and the bench in Nigeria and some other parts of the world, as a matter of fact. But the focus is basically on the Nigerian virtual law practice. So that is what the course is very much all about. But the the uh, 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 the practitioners from some other jurisdictions, judges, magistrates, uh, prosecutors, uh, legal practitioners, will also find it very useful. So to the best of our knowledge, as a matter of fact, it is an all-inclusive course. You can use the Nigerian template to model whatever you have in your jurisdiction. The Nigerian template is very rich because we have a legal framework for virtual law practice, whether at the national level or the state level. We have a robust legal framework for virtual law practice. The laws are there. Um, there are directives from the National Judicial Council. There are directions from the various courts across the federation, which actually promote virtual law practice. Even at the criminal level, we also have relevant provisions of the practice directions of some courts in Nigeria that promote virtual law practice. It's as if that we actually foresaw something like COVID-19, but I must say that it is good to plan ahead, and that is what the Nigerian judiciary has done. Unfortunately, very few lawyers have actually taken advantage of the opportunities there. And we hope that with programs like this, with courses like this designed for continuous professional development, people will be keen to pick interest in it. It's a continuous professional development program. It is a course. It is a course designed to keep us up to date with virtual law practice. So it's not something that we're just going to introduce today and forget about it. From time to time, we will be rolling out virtual law practice topics, courses, tips, and what of you, which will enrich our practice of law. This course, Situa, will enable the lawyer actually practice as both a conventional lawyer and a virtual lawyer. That's the good thing about the nature of the course. Now we are actually going to start with the main introduction of this course. What we did in the previous video was just introducing the course as it were. But this topic is basically on setting up the virtual law office, how you can set up your virtual law office. Is it possible for a lawyer to set up his or her virtual law office with an affordable virtual platform without the need to set up websites and the conventional websites? This is one key area this topic of today will focus on. And we may introduce some practicals in the course of the course, but we do hope that in subsequent classes, we are going to introduce videos, talks, or tips, illustrations on ways you can actually set up your virtual office. So this one is the introduction of the topic, as it were. It is how you can set up your virtual law office. Now, the question is, how do we set up our virtual law office? The answer to this question is simple. It is very easy for you to set up your virtual law office today. You don't actually need a conventional website, as it were. What you just need is a platform, a virtual platform, which are accessible to your clients. A virtual platform that your clients can actually use comfortably. That is actually what you need for your virtual law office for as of now, or at this material time, because we are just starting virtual law practice, more like starting everything from the scratch. So we need to be familiar with some basics, some tips on how to go about it before we get to the advanced stage. First we need to start from the basic. Thereafter, we graduate to the medium, then the advanced stage. But for now, let us start with the basic before we can talk about setting up websites, having websites with logins, through which clients can actually log in to our portals to access our services, to consult us. We can also have portals for clients to protect clients' documents, data, and what have you. Now, the real business is, how do we set up a virtual law office with an affordable virtual platform? The answer to this question is easy. Straight away, it is by virtue of the use of the 5GVirtual Law Office Plus. The 5GVirtual Law Office Plus, as a matter of fact, is a model of law office developed in such a way that it is attached to the lawyer user's conventional law office with the same identifiable address. It is actually developed primarily for use on your WhatsApp, but you can also have it in some other virtual platforms. In our own way, we have developed it on WhatsApp, we have it on WhatsApp, you have it on Facebook, on Telegram, and even on some other platforms which a lot of us may not really be familiar with. So we just want to make do with the familiar platform, and the familiar platform which is comfortable, which is convenient, which people can access, which clients can access, which the courts can access, which the court officials can access, which virtually everybody has in Nigeria. And that is the WhatsApp-based virtual law office. So the WhatsApp-based virtual law office is a unique virtual law office, which we have codenamed as the 5GVirtual law office. It's called the 5GVirtual law office because it is developed with some group features. So the G represents the group features with which the law office is developed, or was primarily developed. So that is the nature of the law office. The 5GVirtual law office is actually protected by Section 25 of the Cybercrimes Act. It is actually an office known to have been developed by a Nigerian. So everything about the office is Nigeria. It's not from any other part of the world. It's Nigeria. It's a Nigerian model of a virtual law office. It's not a US model. It's not an American. It's not a UK model. It's not a Canadian model. Rather, it is a Nigerian model. So I need to put it, make it clear, because we oftentimes we have heard situations where people steal some other people's intellectual property, and we want to guard against it here. So we hope that people won't see it as a mother of law office that actually came from any other part of the world other than Nigeria. So it's a Nigerian model of virtual law office, making it clear, right, in this particular talk as an introduction, so that you can actually have an idea about it. The law office, as it were, has the features of a conventional law office. It has a reception, it has um, principal's office, it has the boardroom, or the what we call the conventional conference room. It has the a library, which we call a virtual library, and it has a law directory, which contains the directory of the workers of the law firm, or of the sole proprietor of the law firm, the principal of the law firm, as it were, because the lawyer is like an office. So there is need for any client who wants to secure the services of the lawyer to have an idea about the status of that particular person as a lawyer. So in the event there's any problem, he or she knows what to do, how to track the person. So like in Nigeria, we have a directory through which you can search for a lawyer from the angle of the MBA, and you'll be able to confirm that this person is a lawyer if you don't want to go through the Supreme Court approach in order for you to maybe apply to have the particulars of the lawyer. You can use the MBA approach by way of proceeding on Google to search, to look for the MBA Find the lawyer platform. And if you're able to log in, type the name of the lawyer, you'll be able to know that particular lawyer. You will be able to know whether that person is a lawyer, as it were. So it's a unique law office where you don't have any problem with whether or not the person that you are transacting with online virtually is a lawyer. You can use that particular law directory to track the person, or to search for the particulars of the person. Then this law office also has what we call the client portal. What makes you a virtual lawyer is not that you are just you have a website. If you have a website, the website could just be there, just like a signboard. You may not actually be rendering services online. You may not be rendering virtual services. So as a matter of fact, to be a virtual lawyer, in fact, that lawyer must be a lawyer who renders his legal services by secure online portals for clients. And the law office must have a designated online portal. A portal, a designated portal for his or her clients, through which he can actually access the information of the client. The client can also access information through this particular portal at any time. The client wants his documents, the client can actually go through this particular means to get the documents, as it were. So that is actually what the virtual law office is really all about. And we also need to know that the virtual law office is a kind of office which has actually come to stay for the benefits of promoting virtual law practice, for the convenience of not just the client, but also for lawyers in Nigeria and lawyers outside the shores of Nigeria. Now, I must make us to understand one thing here. We have had some lawyers who are actually practicing beyond the shores of this country. They're in Canada, US, Dubai, and what have you, and they've been licensed to practice in such places. And somehow they've had the problem of connecting with home because they don't have a conventional offices back home. Now, the 5G virtual office has actually made it possible for you to do that. When you have your 5G virtual office on your WhatsApp, you don't need to get yourself troubled about whether or not you've been out of home for a very long time. If any client has a matter in such a place where you are licensed to practice abroad and you hope to connect with some other lawyers back home in Nigeria, you can use that particular platform. While you are there, you can represent the clients even while you are there. So you need not be in Nigeria for you to do everything, because it promotes remote hearing, it promotes remote filing, it also promotes e-documentation. That's the unique thing about the 5G virtual law office. So we must have got an idea about what the 5G virtual law office is all about. We need to look at it from the angle of how we can use it for e-documentation. E-documentation is a process by which information is recorded in a manner that requires a computer or other electronic device to display, interpret, and process it. So the 5G virtual office, has a very compatible platform for e-documentation. And the lawyer doesn't play with documentation, so you need to know something about that as well. The 5G virtual law office has an e-filing platform as well. That is a platform through which you can actually file your client's documents, processes. You transmit them to the court, and the court clerk can also transmit same to you. And you can also have the ones that you want to have, for keep in the law office, well protected by your data protection department. I must add here that every virtual law firm must have a data protection department for the sake of privacy as it relates to clients' confidentiality. So it's important. Electronic filing has come to stay. Electronic filing is something that we cannot actually do without today. And some of our rules of courts and some of our laws have actually provided for electronic filing, like the National Industrial Court Practice Direction is actually provided for electronic filing. So it is important that we begin to look at this mode of filing for convenience in our practice. As it were, electronic filing, or e-filing as it is called, is the automated transmission of legal documents from an attorney or from a lawyer, party, or self-represented litigant to a court. From a court to an attorney or a lawyer, and from a lawyer or another user to another lawyer, as it were, concerning legal documents. So that is it. So in order, we find the 5G virtual law office very helpful in this regard, because it is very easy to use. It is I must admit that it is of easy to use. It has an easy to use functionalities, and with a unique WhatsApp based compatibilities. So it's important that we look at it from that particular aspect. Now, we must also know this, that the 5G Virtual Law Office and e-court filing system um, is so unique because the rules of courts actually, some of the rules of our courts actually support e-filing. But if the rules of courts, some rules of court do not support e-filing, the question is, what do you do? Especially in a particular jurisdiction. A lawyer may still electronically transmit his or her processes to the court for the purpose of filing. In this case, the transmission is made to the court official, who is also expected to have the WhatsApp contact of the lawyer for the purpose of forwarding the file processes to him or her in line with the NJC directives or any relevant court rules. And the question is, how will he pay the filing fees? It is also very easy. The payment for the filing of the processes, as a matter of fact, is made by online transfers to the account of the court official doing the filing, as it were. Upon receipt of the filing fees, the court official is expected to file the processes, scan the file processes, and forward same to the lawyer in line with the NJC directives and some other directives or the directions of the practice directions of some courts across the federation. You will agree with me that by the directives of the NJC, which the NJC directives of, which is basically the NJC directives of May 2020, any service of a court process by a WhatsApp platform or what have you, any other virtual platform is deemed to be a proper service. So we need to look at it from that particular, understand it from that particular aspect. It must be mentioned here as well that this approach is in addition to the procedure for filing and service of court processes provided by the rules of court. So now, what about the 5G Virtual Law Office and documentation, e-documentation proper? How does it work with e-documentation? In addressing this particular area, I need to ask a question. Can a lawyer do e-filing and e-documentation in our courts, even if there is no technology for it in the court, as it were? The answer is yes for e-documentation and e-endorsement. Of course, you know that today you can actually do e-endorsements, that is e-signing and what have you. You have a lot of apps that can be used for e-signing. You have the Doc Sign, you have the Signfly app, and so many other apps that you can use for e-signing. So the issue of e-endorsement and e-documentation, as it relates to virtual law practice, is not a rocket science. Is something that has been addressed. Section 17 of the Cyber Crimes Act actually provides for e-signing, electronic signature, as it were. But it must be mentioned here that we need to separate, we need to distinguish between electronic signature as it relates to the lawyer endorsing his or her process, and electronic signature or electronic endorsement as it relates to the issuing of the process, as it were. This is very, very important. Now, when it has to do with the issuing of the process, electronic signature cannot come in. the process has got to be signed or endorsed manually by the court. So in other words, the Cyber Crimes Act never contemplates a situation where electronic signature will be okayed or will be relevant for the issuance of court processes. However, as it relates to the transmission, the documentation, the e-endorsement of the lawyer, there is no problem. The lawyer can electronically sign these processes and transmit them to the court. But when the court is issuing the process, the court is expected to use a manual endorsement, a manual approach in doing same, not electronically. So that has got to be noted as you are watching this CPD series. Is very, very important. So you don't make any mistake as it relates to that. So the Cyber Crimes Act, specifically Section 17, forbids a situation where court processes will be electronically endorsed by court officials. It is there. Then the good thing again, which we must note, is the fact that Section 84 of the Evidence Act has made electronic signature very much, acceptable in our justice administration system. So Section 84 of the Evidence Act captures that clearly. So you can use electronic signature. Remember, not in the area of what? Issuing the court processes. So that is it. So now the e-documentation, as a matter of fact, is done by a lawyer through his or her phone, pad, or whatsoever platform. You can use anything to do your e-documentation. The refiling is done manually. That's one thing you need to understand if you want to use the 5GVirtual Law Office for e-documentation and e-filing. If the court does not actually have an e-filing platform, so what you do is to transmit the document by PDF format to the court, having signed your own processes, transmits them to the court through the WhatsApp contact number of the court official in charge of filing, and the court official in charge of filing will go ahead to do the filing without any problem. You can also transfer payment for the filing by the account number of the court official in question. So there is no problem about that. Is what technology has actually done for us. Technology has made a lot of things, so easy for us. Now, let us look at this. Now, how technology has made it easy for lawyers to practice with fun. Of course, a lawyer need not be in court or send his or her secretary to the court for filing of court processes. Everything can be done with his or her phone, pad, or computer, provided the device is internet enabled. So you don't have any problem when it comes to that. So that is all about the 5GVirtual Law Office as it relates to e-documentation, e-filing, and some other things you really need to know about the 5GVirtual Office. But let me, introduce this. It is a question, as as a matter of fact. Is there any part of our rules which actually forbid us from embarking or from venturing into virtual law practice? The answer is no. There is no part of our rules that actually stop us from venturing into virtual law practice. But one unique thing about the 5GVirtual Law Office here is that it enables you to practice not just as a conventional lawyer, but also as a virtual lawyer. So because the 5GVirtual Law Office is attached to your conventional law office with all the relevant particulars about you there, in the 5G virtual office. So when anybody goes online to search for you, the person will be able to have your particulars, through that particular office, because each of the links that actually make up the 5G virtual law office, as it were, has one or two, some sort of information about you. So that will enable the client or prospective clients, as the case may be, to be able to assess your profile, assess your information, to know more about your status, to know more about the person he or she is dealing with. In today's world, we have found ourselves in a digital arena where we can do anything from any part of the world, provided the technology permits it. So that is it. Now, let me go straight to some other aspects, because this talk is more about the introduction. I need to look at some other things, some other areas, some other things that you need to do as a virtual lawyer. How you can equip yourself as a virtual lawyer. What are the facilities? Because this area, this part of the talk is basically on setting up the virtual law office ethically. The question is, how do you advertise? Are you permitted to advertise? In your setting up the virtual law office, aren't you going to advertise your services? Of course, you know what our rules say, provide about it. Our rules, basically, Rule 39 talks about advertisements. It never in any way prohibits advertisements, hook, line, and sinker. Rather, it places some conditions. So you have to look at those conditions and make sure you don't do anything that will be misleading when you are advertising your practice. For example, you cannot say you are the best lawyer in Nigeria. It's not possible. That will amount to advertisement. So you need to be mindful of that particular fact. But that does not mean that you cannot advertise. Your law firm is there. When you state your practice areas in your law directory, you are not advertising. In fact, the MBA has a law directory where we have the areas of practice, the names, the designation, a lot of things, awards of some lawyers over time. And that is not in any way considered to be advertising. But when you say that you provide legal services that other lawyers cannot provide, and you come out openly to state it, you are advertising. So you have to be mindful of that when you are setting up your virtual law office. This information is important because one of the reasons why a lot of people are scared, they don't actually want to go online to set up their virtual law offices is because they are afraid that anything could happen, could be used against them. They could mistakenly advertise. I think they don't need to worry about that. All they just need to do is to look at the rules and know how to use words, how to use languages. In other words, it calls for re-education about your way of practice. You need to develop a new way of practice because virtual law practice has actually provided a new platform for law practice, a new modern law office. So we've got to change, as the time is changing, and we cannot sit back. We've got to be reading. We just need to take it that we've not actually learned anything before, we've not done anything, and we just want to start doing it now. We're starting all over again. That is one thing that we really need to note. Now, the other area is what are the facilities? What are the facilities that we need in a virtual law office? What are actually the facilities? For me, the facilities are not actually expensive. They are very much affordable. one of the reasons a lot of lawyers run away from virtual law practice is the fact that they feel that this thing is very is very expensive. The cost there is such that they won't be able to afford it. They can afford it. All they just need to do, all they just need to know is that with their phone, with their computer, with some virtual platforms installed on their phones like WhatsApp, Zoom, um, Google Teams, and some we have a lot of them. They can actually practice as virtual lawyers. So it's nothing to worry about. Virtual law practice is not a rocket science. It's something that we should begin to look at. It's a new way of practicing law, which is very convenient for not just the lawyer, for the court, and the client as well. One unique thing about it is that it also enables you to manage your time. It makes you effective. It makes the kind of services that you are rendering unique, and it makes you to be more serious in a new way, not in the old way. And it also promotes speedy trial. The aspect of virtual law law practice that promotes speedy trial is in the area of uh, electronic case management system. That is a topic for another day. It's not for today. Electronic case management system. Every lawyer has got to know it. It is important. If it is for every judge, is a magistrate, whether you are a prosecutor, every lawyer, even the client. Immediately you have a client, you should have a portal for electronic case management for your client. And you link up your client to that particular portal. So if your client wants to connect you, to chat with you, and whatsoever, the client will be able to chat with you through that particular portal. Is important. That is it. And it's also important that you have an idea of these facilities. You can see them, not just what I'm saying here. You can see them. For instance, this is what? This is um, a projector screen. You can use this projector screen if the court maybe doesn't have it. You take your system there, you project for instance, your client is in the UK or any part of the country that is somewhat difficult for the client to attend the proceedings of the court. You can apply to the court that you be heard virtually, that the client be heard virtually while you're there in court, subject to the discretion of the court. In most cases, our courts are so magnanimous these days when it comes to virtual law practice. So they grant it. Of course, we have got two rulings of virtual law practice in Nigeria, as it were. When we say rulings that practically promote virtual law practice. One is a ruling that has to do with the service of court processes. The other one is a ruling that has to do with a virtual witness deposition on oath concerning a client that is not resident in Nigeria. And the court, when the application was brought, the court actually granted it, and it opened the doors for virtual witness deposition on oath. In some of our practice directions, there is the rule. There's a provision there that if you want to file any process, if you want to depose a fact in an affidavit, you've got to be in the court. The commissioner for oath has got to see you and know that you are the person who is deposing to this particular fact, not any other person. That is what you have in some of our rules prior to the COVID-19 problem that we are facing now. Now, that was more like a challenge to the practice of law. And then some lawyers thought it necessary for them to come up with a new approach, which is the approach of virtual witness deposition on oath, where even if the client is not there, the deponent is not there, the deponent is far off, the deponent can actually participate, can join virtually, maybe via Zoom or WhatsApp, to participate in the virtual witness to depose to facts in an affidavit in his witness position on oath, and endorse the same by way of adopting the signature which is there, which he may have transmitted to the court before the commissioner for oath, and the commissioner for oath will also look for a way to identify the deponent to be sure that the person whose signature appears on the document is a person that he or she is discussing with, is the person he or she can see on the screen on WhatsApp or on Zoom or on any other platform, as it were. So this thing has made virtual law practice, very, very much interesting. Has taken it away from the realm of rocket science, making it so simplistic, if it is safe for me to use that particular word. Please don't mind my use of words. I want to be as simple as possible. I don't want to be too formal because we need to make this thing flexible. We don't have to be too rigid about it. So that is what virtual law practice is very much about in this particular area. Now, I want to take us down to something that we'll find very useful here, and that is some kind of facilities that you can use for your virtual law practice. As I'm speaking with you, I have a tripod right in front of me, which the phone is affixed on and is capturing everything, recording everything that is happening here. Now, right behind me, you see a tripod and with a phone here. Now, the tripod here and the phone, as a matter of fact, is designed for you to use in the courts. So you can take this tripod and a phone, and maybe one other tripod and one phone. You place it before the witness box, as the case may be, if it has come to a point where the client, the party has got to lead evidence, has got to testify. You can use this. You can place the tripod close to the witness box while the client is maybe out, is not within the court, and you'll be able to hear the client testify virtually. So that's the essence of this. So as a virtual lawyer, it's important that you have a tripod like this with a phone that you can use in the court in case your client is not able to be in court. It is also a strategy of decongesting the court, because you may have cases where there will be so many clients and they want to testify. So with this, you have solved that particular problem of having so many testimonies, so many people coming to testify in the court, and the court will be so congested. So it's important that we take note of this approach to virtual law practice. It is of great use to the lawyer. Now, there is also this. You can see it. This is a wireless speaker. In case you want to hear very much louder than it should be, whatever the person is saying. Maybe the phone is such that the speaker is not too is not loud enough. You can connect these in a wireless way for you to hear whatever the person who is actually speaking on the screen or who is speaking virtually is saying. Then we also have a projector. A projector. This is a mini projector which is also used for a virtual law practice. Sometimes you may project your um, your, 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 your hearing. You may project it on the projector screen so that you can have a bigger picture. You can see big enough, everything. There are a lot of things you can also project. You can project some documents. If you have it maybe in the system, it may be the characters may be too small, to be seen. But when you have it projected, you enlarge it, you'll be able to see it bold enough. So this mini projector is very, very much useful for your virtual law practice, as it were. Then you also have what I call the headpiece. The headpiece, you can also use headpiece for your virtual law practice. It's good you are prepared at all times. You need a good headpiece. You could have the conventional headpiece, which is not as big as this. You can also go with these as well. This is very, very important for your practice. Then one other facility that you need for your virtual law office is a good router. It's a good router, a wireless router as the case may be, not just your phone. You can have your wireless router and use it for your virtual law office at any time you want to use it. For me, if you want hearing, if you have contagious hearing and you don't want you think it's not, you wouldn't like a situation where network will be your problem. So all you need to do is to upgrade to your 5G network, which is convenient in terms for the hearing purpose, and it has speed, so you won't have any problem of break anywhere when you are addressing court. There won't be any problem as to whether or not the court cannot hear what the client is saying, especially in the area of testimony. So that is going to be very, very useful as well for your virtual law practice. Now, I want to, at this particular point, say here that the 5G Virtual Law Office is a virtual law office that has actually come to stay. It is designed to promote virtual law practice in Nigeria, and it will enable lawyers to be more efficient in their practice and more organized, as well. So it's something that will help lawyers to practice, with what I call fun. So I want to, at this particular point, end here today. This is the theoretical aspect of virtual law practice. The next talk on virtual law practice will be basically on how we can set up the virtual law office, the 5G virtual law office plus. How can we actually set up the 5G virtual law office plus? This is what we are going to discuss in our next video, or in our next live broadcast of this particular course. For now, our focus is on the theoretical aspect of it, what you need to know. We've talked, we discussed many things here. There are so many questions that we have asked and answered here, and these are questions that are probing. Questions like, does any part of the rule forbid a lawyer from venturing into virtual law practice? The answer is no. What do we use a 5G virtual law office for? We can use it for e-documentation, e-filing, and transmission of processes to the court. What makes a virtual law, what makes a lawyer a virtual lawyer? A virtual lawyer is a lawyer who actually provides legal services through secure online platform. Not necessarily a lawyer who has a website. You may have a website, but the website is just there like a signboard. So that doesn't make you a virtual lawyer. You must have a secure client portal. So that is it. And you must know how to protect it as well. A virtual lawyer must have a litigation portal for clients. A virtual lawyer must have an electronic case management system portal, which we call ESMS portals. You have the 5G ESMS portals. just as you have the 5G, uh, 5G virtual, 5G virtual law office plus, you also have the 5G ESMS portal. So these are two different platforms which will aid your virtual law office. Virtual office is not a rocket science. Please, I urge every Nigerian lawyer to embrace it. It is good for every lawyer, every judge, every prosecutor, and every stakeholder in the justice administration system. Thank you very much.